السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الحمد لله
وعليكم السلام.
نستعينه ونستغفره ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا وسيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. أما بعد فإن خير الحديث كتاب الله وخير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So welcome you back again to the Sunday session of learning the Quran, and we are on Surah Al-Baqarah, and we will continue from what we had stopped last time for the Quran part. So last time on we had seen on how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was asking the Qawm of Musa alayhi salam on what was better for them, and so inshallah we'll continue thereon. Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatan min lisani yafqahu qawli. Assalamu alaikum. So today we'll be doing the page 7, and we are on pointer number D, and the ayat that we are going to cover inshallah will be 5 to 57. Okay, this is what we have been seeing all the while. I'll go this now. These are the page number 7 and 6 that we are covering. Page number 6 we have already seen before. The result of guidance, Dawah to Bani Israel, do good deeds for and fear the day. The short sentence of that was guide to Bani Israel to do good deeds for the day. That we were on page number 7, and these has 4 parts in it. One was the favors that Allah Ta'ala did on the Bani Israel, and Allah Ta'ala is just enumerating them here. Most of them was rescue from the Fir'aun. Second was the 40 nights that appointment Musa alayhi salam was given to meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and repenting from the calf worship. And today we are going to see show Allah. Okay, so this is what we are going to be seeing today. These are the 4 pointers on the ring finger. First is the rescue from Fir'aun, 40 nights, calf, and show Allah. That was a demand of the people of Bani Israel. There's a 4th pointer which is in the last part of the 7th page, and we would just try to link it up with what was going on last time. So last time the ayat were وَإِذْ قَالَ مُوسَى أَعُوذُ بِاللَّهِ مِنَ الشَّيْطَانِ الرَّجِيمِ بِسْمِ اللَّهِ الرَّحْمَنِ الرَّحِيمِ وَإِذْ قَالَ مُوسَى لِقَوْمِهِ يَا قَوْمِ إِنَّكُمْ ظَلَمْتُمْ أَنفُسَكُمْ بِاتِّخَاذِكُمُ الْعِجْلَ فَتُوبُوا إِلَى بَارِئِكُمْ فَاقْتُلُوا أَنفُسَكُمْ ذَلِكُمْ خَيْرٌ لَكُمْ عِندَ بَارِئِكُمْ فَتَابَ عَلَيْكُمْ إِنَّهُ هُوَ Rahim. So here they were asked, there were 12 tribes of Musa alayhi salam, and each tribe there were some people who had taken the calf as object of worship, and each tribe would know who the people among their own tribe were, and that is the reason Allah Ta'ala here was saying that faqtulu anfus, to kill your own people or kill your people whom you know had done this kind of a sin. And then Allah Ta'ala is also reminding that Allah Ta'ala is at-Tawwab and Ar-Rahim. Correcting these ayats, we should never take Quranic ayat in isolation. When they are there in a series, there is a particular purpose for them, and when we take those, only then we'll be understanding today's ayat also better. That's the reason I in fact recited those ayat back again. So the lessons that we're going to learn today, inshallah, we'll take the lessons as we go ahead. These are the number of new words that are there, and we see that there are only 3 new words in the first, and then 1, 2, 2. These are the new words. We are doing with word to word and phrase for phrase translation and explanation. Coming to the ayat of today. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وإذ قلتم يا موسى لن نؤمن لك حتى نرى الله جهرة حتى نرى الله جحرة فأخذتكم الصاعقة وأنتم تنظرون. We have seen again this lot of وَإِذْ is and remember when. As the short form, va is and then is wadhkuru and remember when. And when we have seen that when it is past tense, and when it is idha with a hamza at the end, it is going to be future. So whenever Allah is going to talk about the qiyamah or the later things, then it is going to be with a hamza here, idha. Okay? But it is which means that it is the past that Allah Ta'ala is talking about. So Allah Ta'ala is reminding whom? The Bani Israel. Is kultum. So anybody can you tell what is kultum in the verbs? Kultum is what? Present tense, past tense, first person, second person. Somebody unmute the mic and answer. Kultum.
Kul
Yeah, kultum is what?
is from kul.
Yeah, kul, but it is what? Second person, first person, past tense, present tense.
It is second person.
Yes, second person, singular, plural.
Plural.
Plural. Yes. And present tense, past tense.
It is past tense.
Past tense. Very good. Alhamdulillah. So all of you are on page with me. Alhamdulillah. So what is qultum? So you see, Allah Ta'ala is reminding them and talking to them directly in second person. Qultum. Allah Ta'ala is talking to them in second person. What is qultum? And remember when you all said. Right. So, and what did they say is going to come here? This could be in inverted brackets. Ya Musa is going to come. But here Allah Ta'ala is talking to the Bani Israel in second person and telling them that is qultum, when you all said. What did they say? Ya Musa, ya is O, ya is a vocative word, ya Musa, O Musa, is qultum ya Musa, lan nu'mina, lan never. And with lan, always the present tense will come. So this is nu'mina. Laka, nu'mina laka, we will not believe in you. But there is no in here. So again, somebody can tell me what is the root word of this word? Nu'mina. What is the root word?
Amana.
MashaAllah. MashaAllah. Very good. Amana. I'd asked for the root word actually. So what is the root words? Alphabets. What are the root alphabets of this word?
Amana.
Hamza, Waw, and
Amana.
Hamza,
Hamza. Mim and Noon.
Hamza, Mim, and Noon. And then which form is this now? Which form? We have learned the forms now.
Majhul, no?
No. The forms of the verbs that we have learned.
Mudaira.
No. Mazid fi. Mazid fi. Which mazid fi is this?
Mazid fi.
Yeah. Which one? The example of that was what? The root words are Hamza, Mim, and Noon. I'll just write it. So if you're learning and not applying it, then it is of no use. So the root words are Hamza, Mim, and Noon. Okay, Hamza, Mim, and Noon. So what is the meaning of this root word?
Peace. To have peace.
And security, to be secure. Right? And what bab does it belong? Anybody can tell that? What bab? You know all the babs? Bab Nasara, Bab Daraba. What bab does this belong to? These are our root words. Hamza, Mim, and Noon. So if you don't apply the knowledge, it is going to be difficult. It is just theory going on then. So what should I put here? Over the Hamza or under the Hamza? Anybody? Okay, I'll make it easy. The first and the last always has a hamza in the past tense verb. What will come on this?
Also Hamza.
No,
Also
no,
Fatah.
no, no. What remains? Only three options. Is it I'll change the color so that you know what. Okay. Is it going to be amana, amina, or amuna? What is it going to be? Yeah?
Amana.
No. It is not amana, it is not amuna, it is amina. Okay. So amina is which bab? Amina is which bab?
Samia होगा.
Yes, very good, mashallah. So amina is bab sami'a. Right? So this is bab sami'a. I'm trying to correlate so that you understand what it is. Otherwise, we are just learning and we feel that we know the meaning, but the learning then is not applied. That's why I'm taking a little more time for this. So the root words are amina, which means to be secure, to be peaceful, to be at peace. Amina. Now this, as you said, is, you had said amana before, right? Amana. So amana will go in which form? What should I add here? You said amana, no? There'll be two hamzas. If we consider bab aslama, this hamza, aslama, right? So because of that aslama, you'll have fatha here, you'll have sukoon here, and you'll have fatha here then. Okay, because it is bab aslama. So because of this sukoon here, it becomes amana. Are you understanding?
Yes, sir.
Right. So this is how the forms are going to change with the root words. Root words are going to be hamza, mim, and noon. The trilateral salafi mujarrad form is amina ya'manu, sami'a yasma'u, amina ya'manu. Ya'manu means to feel secure, to be at peace. Okay. Second thing is this form is amana. Right. So what is the verbal noun of aslama?
Islam.
Islam. So amana will be
Iman.
very good. And if we see the salasi mujarrad, what is the verbal noun for salasi mujarrad? For the amina, what is the verbal noun? Anybody? Amana, amanat.
Amanat.
Okay, trust or security, feeling secure or giving it in somebody's security. Amanat, and the plural of that will be amanat. Right. Coming back to our thing, why did you say that the root word of this is? Why did you say amana? Here, why did you say amana? Because of this peshur, okay, because of this dhamma. We have studied that the present tense will have a dhamma. This noon is for the plural. Okay. Everybody with me, or it is going bumper?
Correct.
Right. No, I'm just wanting to apply that knowledge that you are learning. Otherwise, we know the meaning and we go ahead, and all the grammar will just remain there. So here, this we have to identify why things are happening and why it is this. Right. So this nu'minu is because of this dhamma, we know that this is the fourth form. Why? Because there is no shadda here within the word, and there is no hamza also. So this is the fourth form, or aslama, bab aslama. And aslama yuslimu, there it will be nuslimu. Here it is nu'minu. Right. Correct. Okay. So now nu'minu by itself means to believe. But in the grammar, whatever preposition follows the verb, it will decide the meaning of that verb. Okay. So when we say nu'minu bi, what does it mean? Nu'minu in believe in something. We say nu'minu billah, we believe in Allah. But here that B is missing. Here what is coming? Laka. Nu'minu laka. So what does that mean? Means slightly something slightly different. That's why I'm getting this point out. So whenever we say nu'minu B, it will be nu'minu billah or whatever. We are believing in something. But here we have got nu'minu laka. So its translation will not be directly believe. It will mean that we are not going to follow you. They were already believing in Allah. They were already following Musa alayhi salam and knowing that he is the prophet of Allah. He said that we are not going to believe in you, which means that we are not going to follow you. What were they supposed to follow? The instruction that were given in the previous ayat. Order that Allah Ta'ala had given them in the previous ayat. What was that? Faqtulu anfusakum. So then they said, Allah Ta'ala is reminding them. So whenever somebody will do something wrong and we tell them, remember what we had done? When you had said like this, so here just remember that kind of a tone, and Allah Ta'ala is telling the Bani Israel, وَإِذْ قُلْتُمْ, and remember when you had said this, yaad rakho jab tumne aisa kaha tha. Remember when you said this, وَإِذْ قُلْتُمْ ya Musa lan nu'mina laka. So because of this laka, it means that we are not going to follow your orders. This belief is not the iman belief. It is the following of the order that was given in the previous ayat. Okay, so that was a little grammatical point on how the meanings can change. We feel that nu'minu means believe. So here the belief was there, but now they wanted something more. So Allah Ta'ala is reminding them that remember when you had said to Musa alayhi salam that you are not going to believe him, which means that you are not going to follow him or follow his orders or obey him in whatever he had said. Hatta narallaha jahratan.
This yeah. In W should be small, no?
No, I didn't understand what.
We will never. Here we है ना, we you capitalize किया ना wrong है ना?
हाँ, बराबर. It should be small, but yeah, it should be small. V is not for Allah. Correct. Very good. So only when now we are dissecting the words, we know that this is wrong, right? Somebody could consider this V as Allah Ta'ala saying for himself, right? So, but here it is basically plural used by the Bani Israel. So, إِذْ قُلْتُمْ يَا مُوسَى لَن نُؤْمِنَ لَكَ. We are not going to follow you, or you're not going to believe in whatever you are ordering us to do, which means uqtulu anfusakum. Until when? Hatta narallaha jahratan. Hatta, until. Nara, again Nara, what are the root words of Nara? Root words of
Raya. Raya.
Raya, Ra'a. See, Ra'a. Mute your mics if there's a disturbance coming. Okay. Hatta narallaha. Here Allah has got her fatha. What it indicates is Allah is the object, because they are seeing Allah. They wanted to see Allah. Hatta narallaha, till we see Allah, until we see Allah. This is in the present tense form. The same thing, instead of this na having a fatha, if this na noon had a dhamma or a pesh, then what it could have mean? Show somebody. Okay, then it goes on the fourth form. Okay, right. So if you don't want confusion, let's go ahead, because I think some people get confused with this. So coming to the meaning directly, then hatta narallaha jahratan, until we see Allah jahratan, directly, openly, manifest. So they wanted to see Allah Ta'ala directly, like we see the sun. Like somebody asked the Prophet ﷺ, will we be able to see Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala? So the Prophet ﷺ said that, do you have any problem seeing the sun or the moon? They said no. So if we are believers, and if we have the hope of meeting Allah, and if we have done the good deeds to justify ourselves to see Allah, then we would be able to see Allah jahratan, but not in this world, inshallah, in the akhirah. But their demand was that we want to see Allah jahratan, openly, right away, now, right? So because of that, what happened? So whenever we have this fa coming suddenly in between the sentence, this fa indicates that the action is happening immediately. As soon as they said this, hatta narallaha jahratan, this fa indicates immediately, quickly. Immediately something happened. So what happened immediately? فَأَخَذَتْكُمْ, then took you all. Pakad liya aap sabko. Then because Allah Ta'ala is talking to the Bani Israel, is kultum is also plural second person. Kultum. That's why here you have akhazatkum. Akhazat is what? Masculine or feminine? Akhazatkum is what? Masculine, feminine? This
feminine gender.
feminine. Why is it feminine?
खजत ते के ऊपर ये है ना जज़म.
Yes, but feminine क्या sentence में अब तक what is feminine in the sentence?
साइक़तु.
Yes, very good. So this saika is the feminine, and saika, we have seen this word before also, that akhazatkum saika. Sawaiki hadar al maut. We have listened to this before. So saika is the thunderbolt, which is feminine, and that's why akhazat is come. So this saika, this thunderbolt, has caught them, took them. Antum, and you all. Antum, second person again, because of second person. Kultum and akhazatkum, second person. And that's why we have second person, tanzurun, and that you all were seeing. Antum tanzurun, wow noon, plural again. Okay. So as it'll follow all the grammatical rules. So here Allah Ta'ala is reminding them, remember what you had done when you had told Musa alayhi salam that you are not going to believe in him or follow in him till we see, or till you all see Allah directly, outright, openly, manifestly. أخذتكم الصاعقة, then took you the صاعقة, the thunderbolt, وأنتم تنظرون, and when you all were looking on. Means some people who were involved in the crime, they had got hit by this صاعقة when they demanded that they wanted to see Allah Ta'ala directly, and there were some who were still able to see that this azab has directly come, which means all of them did not die. Some of them who remained behind were able to see this kind of a disaster in front of their eyes. So today we see a lot of people dying in front of our eyes, is like a ibra for us. So Allah Ta'ala gave ibra to the people who were not killed. Some of them were taken up by this thunderbolt. Okay, so remember again, when you are pronunciating this, it should be tanzu, to, vo. It has to be a little with a full mouth, not tanzurun. Then it will become dal, zal, tanzurun, and the pronunciation of that should be zal. This is vo. That nazara means to warn. This nazara means to see. This is na vora. Na vora means to see, and nazara is to warn, right? So that's why we should be having our pronunciations correct, because the words can completely change in their meaning if you do not pronounce them properly. Okay, so
feminine gender. Ta.
Jahratan is basically the verbal noun which can have a ta with it. So this is not feminine; it is a unit. Like as we'll go ahead, bakarah is a unit. When it is a single, zarrah, it is a single unit. So it indicates a unit, right? So this ta is not a feminine ta. This ta is just showing that it is a unit. Jahratan. Okay, right. So
जहरी नमाज बोलते वही है ना, सिररी एंड जहरी.
जहरी is open ना, जाहिर करके open.
जोर से पढ़ते हैं.
Yeah, जोर से. Okay, so who has not recited last time and wants to recite this time? Anybody else, or who would want to volunteer, who has not been not read any time? Abdul Aziz भाई, आप करेंगे? Yeah, anybody else? अख्तर भाई, आप करेंगे? Last time नहीं किया था आपने.
जी, अस्सलाम वालेकुम.
वालेकुम अस्सलाम व रहमतुल्लाहि व बरकातुहू.
अऊज़ु बिल्लाहि मिनश शैतानिर रजीम. बिस्मिल्लाहिर रहमानिर रहीम. व इज़ क़ुल्तुम या मूसा लन
No.
व इज़ क़ुल्तुम या मूसा लन नु'मिना लका हत्ता नरल्लाह जहरतन فأخذتهم الصيحة فأنتم تنظرون وإذ قلتم يا موسى, and when you said, O Moses, لن نؤمن لك, we will never believe you حتى نرى الله, until we see Allah jahratan, outright. فأخذتكم so took you, فأخذتكم الصاعقة, the thunderbolt, فأنتم تنظرون, while you are looking on.
MashaAllah. Okay, so that completes the ayah. So this is how the Bani Israel demanded that they wanted to see Allah right away now to follow what they were ordered to do. That is how we are linking it with the previous ayah. Because previous ayahs, they were ordered to kill themselves, which means that to kill people who had taken the calf as the object of worship. Okay. وإذ قلتم يا موسى لن نؤمن لك حتى نرى الله جهرة فأخذتكم الصاعقة وأنتم تنظرون. But Allah, Bani Israel said, we will not believe until we see Allah. Jahratan manifest, that is not in dreams, but manifest before our own eyes. That is to see Him openly. فَأَخَذَتْكُمُ الصَّاعِقَةُ, Allah punished them with a thunderbolt and they all died. وَأَنْتُمْ تَنْظُرُونَ, you saw each other dying in front of you. That was a severe punishment. To see somebody die in front of your eyes is not a very good thing to see. Then we'll continue. ثم بعثناكم من بعد موتكم لعلكم تشكرون. Then after they had died, ثم بعثناكم, then we raised you up again. بعث بعثي بعد الموت is reviving after the death. You're raising up again after that. After they had died, Allah Ta'ala then raised them again, and since Allah Ta'ala was talking to them, ثُمَّ بَعَثْنَاكُمْ, then we revived you, مِنْ بَعْدِ مَوْتِكُمْ. This again confirms that they had died. Right? Allah Ta'ala could have said مِنْ بَعْدِ ذَلِكَ, would have meant the same, but Allah Ta'ala is confirming that thunderbolt had killed them. Not that only injured them, it had killed them. ثُمَّ بَعَثْنَاكُمْ مِنْ بَعْدِ مَوْتِكُمْ, after your death. The thunderbolt had actually caused them to die. مِنْ بَعْدِ مَوْتِكُمْ لَعَلَّكُمْ, so that perhaps that tashkurun, so that you would be grateful. Grateful for what? And this gratefulness means what? Means that they would at least obey the orders of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right? Here the shakara is to be grateful, and the gratefulness here indicates that they would obey what Musa alayhi salam had ordered them to do, and that was an order from Allah. And for us, it is the order that is in front of us, and what Allah orders us to do to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And if we are obeying that, it is the gratefulness that we are showing. So gratefulness would equal to obedience. If that is there, then Allah Ta'ala says that then you could be obedient, because it is like a warning that Allah Ta'ala gave. It is like if somebody is not doing something right, then you slap that person or you hit that person, and then he would start doing things the right way. This was a kind of a punishment that Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala gave them, and then revived them back. And the point of revival for them back was at least after giving them life after that death, Allah Ta'ala showed them that what are the capabilities of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, and because of that, they should at least be obedient to the Prophet. At that time, it was Musa alayhi salam, and for us, it was going to be obey the Prophet. And that is the kind of shukr that we would be doing if we are obeying the Prophet the way it is required. ثُمَّ بَعَثْنَاكُمْ مِنْ بَعْدِ مَوْتِكُمْ لَعَلَّكُمْ تَشْكُرُونَ. So, who's going to do this? Rashid sahab, aap karna chahenge? Disturbance in your audio? Okay. Are you doing? Can't hear you. You're not audible. Your mic is not proper, I think. Are you able to do? Can't hear you.
माइक खराब है लगता है उनका.
Mic खराब है.
Trying.
Yeah, I think. Mic चल नहीं रहा आपका.
हेलो, मैं तो लगा के रखा हूँ सर बराबर है.
अच्छा ठीक है, आ रही है अभी आवाज. कीजिए. बिस्मिल्लाह. नहीं, वापस बंद हो गई.
अभी आ रही है सर.
हाँ, अभी आ रही है. हाँ.
औज़ु बिल्लाहि मिनश शैतानिर रजीम.
Okay.
नहीं आ रहा.
नहीं आ रहा है. ठीक है, आप भी कर लीजिए फिर.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ثم بعثناكم من بعد موتكم لعلكم تشكرون. And we revived you.
Then summa is not and then.
ثم
फिर.
بعثناكم, then we revived you. من بعد موتكم, after your death. لعلكم تشكرون, that perhaps you would be grateful.
MashaAllah. Alhamdulillah. So we saw that in the recitation wise, we have to remember that whenever there is a mim shadda, there should be a little extra gunna. So summa ba'athnakum, both will have same type of gunna. Summa ba'athnakum min ba'di, not mim. There should be an ikhfa within the nose. This mim should not be zahir. It should be hidden. ثم بعثناكم من بعد موتكم لعلكم تشكرون. The sheen should have a tafashi. Sheen should have a tafashi. Tashkurun. Okay. With that, inshallah, we go ahead. So then Allah revived them after their death, that perhaps they would be grateful. This is the last ayat, inshallah, that we'll be taking. وَظَلَّلْنَا عَلَيْكُمُ الْغَمَامَ وَأَنزَلْنَا عَلَيْكُمُ الْمَنَّ وَالسَّلْوَىٰ كُلُوا مِن طَيِّبَاتِ مَا رَزَقْنَاكُمْ وَمَا ظَلَمُونَا وَلَكِن كَانُوا أَنفُسَهُمْ يَظْلِمُونَ. So what is and? Zallalna. Okay, zallalna is, what are the root words of this word? Root words. Root words of zallalna.
Zallala.
Zalla.
Okay.
Zalla.
Zalla. Lam. So it's a doubled verb. Like we had zalla and we had vanna. Okay. But we also have an extra shadda. So which mazid fi form does this belong to? Which mazid fi does this belong to?
Fa'ala.
Fa'ala. MashaAllah. So it is allama. What we have studied is ain lam mim, no? So what we are writing it as this al. So this extra shadda is from the allama, right? So the root words are dhalla. So the meanings also change when it is just the root word dhalla. Okay, this is a shadda. So dhalla, what is the meaning of the word dhalla? Dhalla?
To shade.
No. The root, trilateral root dhalla means to carry on, chalna, right? And dhalla with the shadda would mean to shade. Okay. So the trilateral word has a different meaning from the mazid fi word's meaning. Okay. So zalla means to carry on. Wazalaltum, wazaltum, tafakkahun. There are a lot of other places where the trilateral form is also used. Zalla. But here it is an extra lam. So it is bab fa'ala. And we have said it as allama. Inshallah, we'll take the word as we go in the analysis further. But just to keep your things open and eyes open. So whenever you're getting words, just try to see where it is going to fall, so that whatever grammar you have learned, you can apply on that. Okay. So zallalna, zallala is to shade. So zallalna, and we shaded. Allah Ta'ala shaded. Zallalna alaykum, upon you. Al-ghamam, ghamam is clouds, and the singular, this is plural, clouds. Singular is ghamamatun. So zallalna alaykum al-ghamam. Anzalna, root words of this. Anzalna, root words.
Anzala.
Root words.
Nazala.
Nazala.
Nun, zal, and lam. Which form now does this belong to? Which form? Mazid fi, which form?
Aslama.
Aslama. Mashallah. Very good. Aslama. So now you have to pick up these forms. When these forms are coming, you have to pick up them. Okay? So this Hamza is of the Aslama bab. Aslama. Right? This was Allama and this is Aslama. So وَظَلَّلْنَا عَلَيْكُمُ الْغَمَامَ وَأَنزَلْنَا. Nazala means to send. Anzala means utarna. Okay? So like jalasa and ajlasa. Jalasa baitha, ajlasa bithaya. Nazala bheja niche, anzala bhijwaya. Something like that. That is how the sense and the form changes. Wa anzalna, or bhijwaya humne, and we send down. See, now in English that thing will not come. Wa anzalna, and we send down. Alaykum, upon you. What did Allah Ta'ala send? Al manna. Manna has a fatha because it is the object. Al manna was salwa. Salwa, because of this ya, that fatha is not there. Like we have seen before for Musa, Isa, this ya is alif maksura. It will not change the i'rab. So manna is in a fatha case, accusative case, right? وَذَلَّلْنَا عَلَيْكُمُ الْغَمَامَ وَأَنزَلْنَا عَلَيْكُمُ الْمَنَّ وَالسَّلْوَى. So Allah Ta'ala descended upon them, send for them from Jannah al-manna was-salwa. Allah Ta'ala gave them quails and salwa. Okay. So one of them is like those wheat grain, and which they could just eat directly. So to say carbohydrates, and the other quails is the bird which they were able to catch easily and eat it easily. Right. So then Allah Ta'ala is telling them, Kulu min tayyibat. Kulu is what? Kulu is what? All these words you have done before. Kulu is?
To eat. Kulu means to eat.
It's an order, imperative.
Kulu, imperative.
And root words are root alphabets. Akala, ta'kulu, kul, akhadha, ta'khudhu, khudh. Right? So kulu. So now you know the format. You should be able to pick up the word and the root word also. So kulu is akala, ya'kulu, and kul is the order for single person, and kulu is for plural. Right? So this is not like qala and kana. This is akala. Okay. So we have done all this, but you should be able to pick up each of them whenever you are reciting that. Tayyibat is the good things. So Allah Ta'ala had given them these good things right from Jannah, because Allah Ta'ala said we sent down upon them the manna and salwa. Kulu min tayyibat, eat from the good things. Ma, what, which, razaqna, razaqna, we provided, we gave rizq. Nakum, we gave rizq to you all. Wama, and not walamuna, we wronged. Walamu, they wronged us. Walakin, but kanu, They were all anfusahum, nafs, their nafses. They were for their nafses. Yazlimun, wronging. They were doing zulm on their nafses. Okay. Now here, as we see, Allah Ta'ala is talking first. وَذَلَّلْنَا, and we shaded alaykum, upon you all. Al-ghamama wa anzalna, and we sent down alaykum, upon you. Al-manna wa salwa. And then again, it is continuing the second person. Kulu, eat min tayyibat, from the good things. Ma razaqnakum, that we gave you all. Okay. And suddenly Allah Ta'ala changes the order or the speech. Here it is in second person speaking to. Here it is in second person and speaking to the Bani Israel. Suddenly Allah Ta'ala is changing it and going in the third person and putting them in the third person. Okay. And then Allah Ta'ala is saying, see, we have a toy here, which means that you can stop here because of this stoppage. Now, wama zalamuna. Ma zalamu is what? Third person plural. They wronged. Here Allah Ta'ala is talking to them directly of the favors. Now Allah Ta'ala doesn't want to talk to them, and Allah Ta'ala is now speaking to others in the third person. Wama zalamu, and they wronged, and not they wronged us. Zalamu is third person. Us is na. And they did not wrong us. Walakin, but kanu, they were anfusahum, on themselves, yazlimun. They were doing zulm. They were doing wrong. So if you see here, the zalamu is which tense? Zalamu is which tense? Present past tense. Zalamu is past tense. Kanu is what?
Past tense.
Okay, so why are we getting here yazlimun? Why are we getting yazlimun? This is what? Okay, so yazlimun is present tense?
Yes.
So, right. So why are we getting present tense and past tense here? What does that mean? What does this mean? Is this present tense or no? This is present tense, no?
Yes, limon is present tense.
This
Yes.
Kanu.
so-
Yazlimun. Because Kanu is come,
Uh,
this Yazlimun will have meaning in past.
right. So it means in English grammar, it will mean past continuous. They were doing something. So that their action had not got completed, but it was continuing. So whenever kanu in the past is followed by a present tense verb, here we can see that this is ya, which is present tense. So a kana, kanu, any part of the kana gardan, the kana conjugation, you have a present tense coming. It means that it is past continuous.
Past continuous tense.
Past continuous. That is the grammatical connotation of this.
Mazi is tamrari.
Yes, correct. So past continuous in English. Right, so just take this ayah once more. So somebody can do it. Rashid में आपका म्यूट कर लीजिए क्योंकि बहुत डिस्टर्बेंस आ रहा है आपके स्पीकर से. Now, right. Somebody else wants to take this ayah.
Yeah, I will take.
Okay.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. وظللنا عليكم الغمام.
Zalalna, no, not zalalna. Come again. Read again.
وظللنا.
وَذَلَّلْنَا. Very good.
وظللنا عليكم الغمام وأنزلنا عليكم المن والسلوى كلوا من طيبات ما رزقناكم وما ظلمونا ولكن كانوا أنفسهم يظلمون.
وَظَلَّلْنَا عَلَيْكُمُ الْغَمَامَ and we shaded you with cloud. وَأَنزَلْنَا عَلَيْكُمْ and sent down to you al-manna was-salwa, manna and quails. Kulu min tayyibat, eat from the good things. Ma razaqnakum, which we have provided you. Wama zalamuna, and they were wronged us not. Walakin kanu anfusahum yazlimun, but they were only wronging themselves.
MashaAllah. Right, so in this, the thaw has to be proper. And see, if you are missing on this or not reading it properly, the form completely changes. And as we have seen, as the form changes, the meaning changes. That's why it is said that whenever you are reciting the Quran, you have to be very clear on what you are reciting. Sometimes it so happens in reading fast to complete the para, people start reading fast and they feel that this is the word I know already. It happens in normal reading also, that when some words are known, we tend to skip it and go fast over it. But in that, we should not be pronouncing them wrong, because even a fatha and a kasra, now you know, after learning all this, is a small difference can make a lot of difference, and you could make a lot of mistakes if there is a small difference, right? So the meanings would completely change. The object or the subject of the sentence would completely change, and that's why it is important that each and every i'rab should be pronounced properly. There should be no error done in that, right? So وَظَلَّلْنَا عَلَيْكُمُ الْغَمَامَ, and we shaded you with clouds and sent down on you manna and salwa. كُلُوا مِن طَيِّبَاتٍ, eat from the good things. مَا رَزَقْنَاكُمْ, what we have provided you. وَمَا ظَلَمُونَا, and they did not wrong us. وَلَكِنْ كَانُوا أَنفُسَهُمْ يَظْلِمُونَ, but they themselves have wronged their own souls. Okay. Right. So despite their repetitive transgression, Allah did not abandon them completely, sent clouds to protect them from the sun's heat. Now, this was when they were in the wilderness, when they were asked to fight and conquer Jericho as a city. They said to Musa alayhi salam, you and your Lord go and fight, we are going to sit here, right? And that is after that they were again punished, and they were supposed to they were in the deserts for almost 40 years, and that is when Allah Ta'ala still supported them in spite of the transgression. Allah Ta'ala covered them with clouds and to give them shade from the sun's heat, and gave them food in the desert where you get nothing. Allah Ta'ala was giving them this manna and salwa, and they were able to at least nourish themselves. And then Allah Ta'ala is saying that I have given you this, and eat from these good things. So Bani Israel rebelled and disbelieved, even though they saw the clear signs of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They saw huge miracles, extraordinary events, and all they did was wrong after that. So in spite of them being saved from the Fir'aun, and they saw in front of their eyes how Fir'aun was drowned, but in spite of that, they took the calf as an object of worship. And then Allah Ta'ala, then when they did that, Allah Ta'ala asked them to punish themselves or the people among their own tribes, the 12 tribes, and they did not want to do it. And then they gave an argument saying that they wanted to see Allah Ta'ala directly, and only then they would want to follow what is being ordered them to. In spite of seeing all these miracles and signs, they were not wanting still to believe. They still had some doubt in their hearts. So we should not have any doubts in our hearts. And the same thing is reminded to us in Surah Al-Hadid, where there is a comparison being driven between the mu'minun and the munafiqeen. And that is a very powerful reminder. So everybody can just go and see that. We will continue with our hadiths for the day, which I have in fact shared on the group. So Abu Dhar reported that Allah's Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam saying that this is just the part of the hadith. The full hadith I've shared on the group, so you can go through that. O my servants, even the first amongst you and the last amongst you, and the whole of human race of yours, and that of the jinn even, become equally God conscious or equally have taqwa, like the heart of a single person amongst you. Nothing would add to my power. So Allah's power is already there, whether we are worshipping Him or not worshipping Him, whether we are thanking Him or whether we are considering Him that or no. It doesn't make any difference to Him. And even if all my servants, for the first amongst you and the last amongst you and the whole human race of yours and the jinn two in unison become the most wicked, all beating like the heart of a single person, it would cause no loss to my power. So Allah has all the qudrat, all the power, and even if all the people on the earth become sinners, it is not going to change the greatness of Allah in any way. The only thing is, if we are acknowledging the greatness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it is for our own good, and that is what we saw in the ayat also. وَمَا ظَلَمُونَا وَلَكِنْ كَانُوا أَنفُسَهُمْ يَظْلِمُونَ. So they did not wrong us, but they wronged themselves, because the greatness of Allah and the glory of Allah and the mercy of Allah, everything is so overpowering that even if all the people on the earth are to rebel or go against Allah's commands or do everything opposite to what is happening or what Allah Ta'ala is saying, even then the greatness of Allah and the power of Allah is not going to either increase or reduce, right? It is a very important message for us in this particular hadith on even if sometimes a lot of people will give arguments that if Allah had all the power, then why this is happening or why that is happening, but that is the will that Allah Ta'ala has given people on the earth, and that is what they are going to be judged on. Okay, so these are the two ayats directly. And when you said, "O Musa, we will never believe you until we see Allah manifestly." So here I told you that believe is not followed by be, and it is followed by laka, which means that we are not going to follow you or follow your command, which you're commanding us to kill ourselves till we see Allah directly. So Allah Ta'ala sent a thunderbolt, and that thunderbolt seized them while they were looking at each other. Then Allah Ta'ala revived them after their death so that you will be grateful, and then he shaded, in spite of all their transgressions, Allah Ta'ala still helped them by shading them with manna and salwa, with the clouds, and giving them manna and salwa to eat, and then ordered them to eat from whatever Allah Ta'ala has provided. And Allah Ta'ala is then saying that with all these sins, they did not wrong us, which means that the greatness of Allah will not be reduced, or the power of Allah is not reduced, even if all of the people on earth would sin, but they were doing wrong to themselves. We should have the akhirah in front of us as a target. Only then we will see the things in the right perspective. So Allah Ta'ala punished them for their demands to see Allah. In spite of them seeing so many miracles, He brought them back to life even after their disobedience. He provided them shade and food in the desert miraculously, and Bani Israel behaved wrongly in spite of so many blessings. So we should be praying to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is how we act on it. Help me thank you for the countless blessings that you have given us. And we should say Alhamdulillah whenever we receive a blessing. So coming to the words of today, sa'iqah, we have seen this word sawa'iqa, sawa'iki hadar al-maut in the previous lessons. And tayyibah and tayyibat is the plural of tayyibah. Then we have word nazara on the bab nasara, nazara, yanduru, undur, nazir, manzur, and nazrun. Then we have ba'atha on the bab fa'ala, ba'atha, yab'athu, ib'ath, ba'ith, mab'uth, ba'athun. Ba'atha means to revive again, wapas uthana, ba'athi ba'dal maut. Right? Then we have shakara, this has come before also, shakara, yashkuru, ushkur, shakir, mashkur, and shukr. This is on again bab nasara. All this is simple. Then we have the weak letters and the weak words. Qala we have seen so many times. Qala, yaqulu, qul, qa'il, maqul, and qawl. Then we have the word ra'a. So this ra'a can also be in the fourth form, ara. If it is in the fourth form, it means to show. And in the first form, ra'aya, it means to see. So ra'a, yara, and ra is to see. Ra'in, the one who is seeing. Maryi'un is the thing that is seen, and ra'yun is vision. So ra'yun is also sometimes used for dreams, vision. Akhaza, ya'khuzu, khuz, akhiz, ma'khuz, and akhzun. Right? So same way, like we have this hamza, the amana is the hamzated word, but it is on bab sami'a. Amina, ya'manu. Right? So that's why we should, once we know the bab, then everything becomes easy and everything falls in place. So as we saw, this is on aslama yuslimu, and that's why we are writing this amana. Instead of amana, we have made it amana. Amana yu'minu, amana yu'minu, amin, mu'minun, mu'manun, and imanun. Right? So this word is very important because it is comes so many times. If you get a good grasp of this word amana and its different forms, then it will be very easy for you. Then we saw the word Lam lam, dhalla, and it is on Bab allama. So we have dhallala, yudhallilu, dhallil, mudhallilun, mudhallalun, tadhlilun, right? And remember, it is a to and dho, not dhal, dho. Then we saw nazala, which is nazala yanzilu, is instead of that we have on the bab fourth form aslama yuslimu. So anzala, yunzilu, anzil, munzilun, munzalun, and inzal. Inzal is bhijwate rehna, the process of sending, right? So that is inzal. Okay, so that covers the Quranic part for today, and inshallah then we would go to the grammar for today. So if we are learning the grammar and not applying it, then we are still not learning it enough, because knowledge, if it is not applied, then it is of no use. Knowledge is not power, but knowledge plus action is power. Remember this. Knowledge, a lot of people say knowledge is power. I say knowledge is not power. Knowledge plus action is going to be power. Okay. Right, so the words that you are going to study today, the verbs you are going to study today is tadarasa, and inqalaba. These are the two forms that you are going to learn today. We have already learned the other forms before, and they are more or less similar, so we are going to take two forms today. So in tadarasa, we have ta'ala on the same format, tashabaha, tabaraka. Baraka we know is to have barakah. This is tabaraka, alladhi. We have, Surah Al-Mulk starts with that. So that is on this particular form. Tazahara, tanaza'a, tanaja, takhafata. So there are these different words on that. Tawasaw, wa tawasaw bil haqqa, tawasaw, right? So, and then we have the other word is inqalaba, intalaqa, infadda, imbaga, inkadara. Right, so these are two forms. Inshallah, we will. So the word tadarasa is not used in the Quran, but the form of tadarasa is used, as we saw before, tawasaw and mutanafis in Suratul Mutaffifin. So the Prophet of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that when a group of people assemble to acquire the knowledge of Allah's book, then what happens? So tadarasa, I've told you before, like qatala means to kill, qatala is between two people, right? And the two people are equally sort of against each other or equally fighting. Tadarasa is similar, where this action has to be between two people, like fa'ala, ba fa'ala, like hasaba. Two people are taking account of each other. So this particular form again indicates that it is between some people that this action is happening. So that indicates a group of people. So there should be two people where this is happening, or a group where this should be happening. So when there are people who assemble to learn the book of Allah, what we are doing now, what happens? There are four things that happen. Just see this very carefully so that we know the ahmiyat or the importance of what we are doing. One is tranquility descends upon them. Nazala alayhimus sakinah. Mercy envelops them. Rahmah envelops them. The angels surround them with their wings. And Allah makes a mention of them before those who are near Him. So these are the four things that happen for people who are involved in teaching each other or studying together, right? So this is the form that we are going to take first. In the Mazid Fi, we have studied this already. Ta'lim and Muhasaba are very important in Islam. Don't waste your time in ikhtilaf. Use it in istighfar, and the root verbs for or the forms of that were allama, hasaba, aslama, ikhtalafa, istaghfara. Now in this, if you realize, this ikhtalafa has a kasra, istaghfara has a kasra. Right, so these are the forms that we have studied till now, and the short forms of that. Yeah. So today's lesson we are going to study tadarasa. So this has an additional ta in the beginning and a hamza after the fa kalima. Right. So darasa, instead of that we have tadarasa, and it means that studying together. So there are two people or a group of people doing things together. So we would have to remember that ta and hamza at the ta in the beginning and hamza at the after the fa kalima. Now we have to differentiate this from a present tense. We shouldn't confuse this ta for the ta of the present tense. That is the only thing that's how we should learn it. So we have tada rasa, we have tada rasu, tada rasa, tada rasu, tada rasta, tada rastum, tada rastu, tada rasna. So the past tense will go the same way, but the front part is going to remain the same. It will have a ta and a hamza after the fa kalima. So tada rasa, tada rasu, tada rasta, tada rastum, tada rastu, tada rasna. Okay, so past tense, nothing very significant or different from the normal fa'ala pattern. So we'll use this in our spoken Arabic, and we will pose questions and seek answers. So word tadarasa means, are they studying together? Right? Are they studying together? Tadarasa. Hal tadarasa. Can you answer?
Naam tadarasa.
Hal tadarasu.
Naam tadarasu.
Hal tadarasta.
Naam tadarastu.
Hal tadarastum.
Naam tadarasna.
MashaAllah. So this is we take it the same way. The same words are repeated with a new pattern. That's it. Nothing very difficult about it. So coming to the present tense. So present tense again. Remember that this particular form does not have a dhamma. Only the first three had a dhamma. Allama, hasaba, and aslama has a dhamma in the present tense. Or all the others have a fatha only. Right. So here we are going to have yatadarasu, the dhamma of the fa'alu. Rest everything is going to remain same, but the ya is going to be followed by a ta, right? Yatadarasuna, tatadarasu, tatadarasuna, atadarasu, and natadarasu, right? So we're doing all these forms that whenever that particular form comes, we should be able to recognize this particular form and be able to understand that why this particular form has come instead of the routine form and how the word meaning is going to differ. Otherwise, when you see the translation, you would not be able to differentiate between amana and amana. We saw that example today. The one is the fourth form and one is the first form, right? So I want you to be able to understand the forms, and then the meanings are going to be different according to that particular form that is used. So again, the present tense is not much difficult. The same word is added with the additions. So yatadarasu, yatadarasuna, tatadarasu, tatadarasuna, atadarasu, and natadarasu. Okay. So again, with this, we would take some of the spoken Arabic for that. Okay, spoken Arabic is a thing afterwards. So we will take the order. We have done the word tadabbara before, and in that also we have seen that the order had a fatha as against the other forms where we have a kasra. Like we have allama, allim, and hasaba, hasib, aslama, aslim. But tadabbara had tadabbur, tadabbar. And here we have tadarasa, we have the order as tadaras with a sukoon. So everything same except this sukoon. And remember that this does not have a kasra. Okay, so this is the past tense. So instead of this fatha, if you put a sukoon, it becomes the order. And here there is a fatha and not a kasra in the order. This is what is how it is different, right? So only two forms, tadabbara and tadarasa, have a fatha on it. And the way to remember this two forms, a shortcut key to remember it would be like tadabbur is an important thing which you are going to do with the Quran, and tadarasa is also something important which you are going to do with the Quran. So that cannot go down, and that's why we do not have a kasra here. We will always have a fatha for tadabbara bab and tadarasa. This is how maybe you can remember, a trick to remember that this has a fatha on it. The sukoon is going to be there for the order. Okay, so for Amr, we have to just put a fatha on the last letter and the sukoon on the last letter. Second last letter will have fatha and sukoon on the last letter. That's how the order is formed. So the order of tadarasa bab will be tadaras, tadarasu, la tatadaras, la tatadarasu. Okay, so order is tadaras, tadarasu, La tatadaras, la tatadarasu. Okay, and with that, we would come to the active participle. Active participle is similar to all the other active participles. Mutadaras, mutadarisun is the active participle, and mutadarasun is the passive participle. So, tadarasa, yatadarasu, tadaras, mutadarisun, mutadarasun. Okay, and the verbal noun is going to be tadarusun, like tadabburun. We have tadarusun with a dhamma on the second last alphabet. Last is going to be a noun. For noun we know has a tanween. So tadar, tadarusun, tadarusun. Okay. So tadarasa, they both had studied together. Yatadarasu, they both are studying together. Tadaras, you study together. Mutadaris, the one who studies together. Mutadaras, the thing that is studied together. And tadarusun is the process of studying together. Tadarus. Okay. So with this, we have the active participle mutadarisun, one who studies together. Mutadarasun, the thing that is studied together. And the verbal noun here is tadarusun. Right? So not too much difficult. Inshallah, may Allah make it easy for us to remember. Just one point to remember is the order has got a fatha and sukun, and rest is you have a dhamma in the verbal noun. These are the only two things that you have to remember. The rest all is almost very easy and similar. So with the feminine, we'll take the full gardan together. Tadarasa, tadarasu, tadarasta, tadarastum, tadarastu, tadarasna, tadarasat for feminine. Yatadarasu, yatadarasuna, tatadarasu, tatadarasuna, atadarasu, and natadarasu. And feminine will be tatadarasu. Order is tadaras, tadarasu, la tatadaras, la tatadarasu, mutadarisun, mutadarasun, tadarusun. It might look a little difficult or complicated, but it is not, because the present tense is similar, just that ya is added and the normal alif and hamza that we add, and order is just a sukun with a fatha in the beginning, and the verbal noun has got a dhamma. This is the only three things that you have to remember. Everything else is similar in pattern to tadabbara. Okay, just going through it once more. Tadarasa, yatadarasu, tadaras, mutadarisun, mutadarasun, and tadarusun. So with this, we any doubts in that particular form, because you have already two verbs, so it shouldn't get too heavy for you. Any doubts in the previous thing, tadarasa? As I said, important things to remember are this dhamma here and this fatha here. Just more or less, it is quite easy, and that there is no pesh here. Yatadarasu, and you can remember this, that you will have extra ta at the beginning. Okay, in ikhtalafa, the ta was in the center. Here it is in the beginning, and you also have a fatha here. There's only two things different. Right. So next verb is inqalaba, means he turned around. Palta. Right. So in Urdu it will be palta. Right. Inqalaba, and the forms. The meaning when the in comes, it means that that happened by itself. So kasara, in kasara means tuta. In kasara means toot ke tukde tukde ho gaya. It gives it this passive form. It is like saying qata'a means to cut. Qata'a, cut. In qata'a, cut gaya. So to give an example, in Urdu maybe phone cut gaya, matlab apne aap kata. It happened by itself. Something fell and tukde tukde ho gaya. In kasara, it broke by itself. Toot gaya. Then line cut gayi, line katti. Something like that. So this in, when it is added, it gives that kind of feel of the verb. So the thing has happened by itself. Listen, you are not cutting something, but it happened. Cut gayi, apne aap cut gayi. The phone ki line cut gayi, right? So something like that. So the in qalaba means palta. Qalaba palta. In qalaba palat gaya apne aap. Something like that. So we'll take the past tense, nothing very difficult. Same in qalaba, in qalabu, inqalabta, inqalabtum, inqalabtu, inqalabna, inqalaba, inqalabu, inqalabta, inqalabtum, inqalabtu, inqalabna. Okay, so this is the past tense, not difficult, just in is added in front of that verb, in. Okay, now depending on what alphabet is coming, remember that there will be an ikhfa that is happening here. So while practicing itself, if you practice it with that ikhfa, then your pronunciations in the Quran inshallah also will get better. So you should say it as inqalaba, inqalabu, inqalabta, inqalabtum, inqalabtu, inqalabna. So when you're practicing the gardan, both things get practiced. Your tajweed also and your verb also will get practiced. But practice it so that both things come together, because otherwise you'll have to have separate classes for each. So with that, we come to the present tense. Again, not very difficult. Young qalibu, young qalibuna, tang qalibu, tang qalibuna, ang qalibu, nang qalibu. Right? So qaf, we have to take care of the qaf, not kaf. Qaf from the deep part of the throat. So young qalibu, yang qalibuna, tang qalibu, tang qalibuna, ang qalibu, nang qalibu. So here again, while practicing, practice it with the ikhfa of the noon. The noon has to go in the nose, not in qalibu, in qalibu, in qalibu. While practicing, if you do it, then while you're reciting the Quran, it will be easy, and you don't have to think that there has to be a ikhfa to be done here. So let's practice the ikhfa along with the spoken Arabic itself. So while answering, also take care of that. Al yang qalibu, is he turning around?
Naam yanqalibu.
MashaAllah. Yes, he is turning around. Hal yang qalibuna.
Naam yanqalibuna.
MashaAllah. So that's how the gunna, if you practice now itself, it will become a second nature for you. Otherwise, you have to take too much stress for that. So, hal tanqalibu.
Naam anqalibu.
MashaAllah. Hal tanqalibuna.
Naam nanqalibu.
Right. So remember, the qaf has to be from the deep part of the throat, and the noon has to have an ikhfa. Okay, so I'm trying to see that both things are sort of partly covered, but of course the tajweed, you would require somebody who can sit in front of you and analyze your reading and then point out the mistakes to you. Again, order is not very difficult. In qalaba, yang qalibu, in qalib. So this has a qasra and sukun at the end. So not very difficult. Only tadarasa and tadabbara has got a fatha in the order. Everything else will have a kasra in the order. Okay. So inqalib, inqalibu, la tanqalib, la tanqalibu, inqalib, inqalibu, la tanqalib, la tanqalibu. So that's the order and the negative order also. Now again, the active participle and passive participle is same. Meme with a pesh is added, so it will be munqalib, munqalib. The person who is turning around, active participle. The person who turns around is munqalib, and munqalab will be the thing that is turned around, right? So, but not the passive participle, not very commonly used, but munqalib, munqalab. And this word is a very famous newspaper that a lot of Urdu reading people use. Inqilab. Just practice it properly so that the qaf comes, not inqilab. Qaf. Qaf. Inqilab. Inqilabun. It will be because it's a noun. That is the verbal noun. So the whole thing, the whole table we have here. So the active participle is munqalibun, munqalabun, and inqilabun. Munqib, munqalib, inqilab. That's the whole table in front of us, right? So inqalaba, inqalabu, inqalabta, inqalabtum, inqalabtu, inqalabna, inqalabat. Yanqalibu, yanqalibuna, tanqalibu, tanqalibuna, anqalibu, nanqalibu, tanqalibu for feminine. Order inqalib, inqalibu. La tanqalib, la tanqalibu. Munqalib, munqalab, inqilab. Right? That's the whole table. Just write it, practice it a couple of times, and then inshallah it will be easy. Easy for you. The whole table,
पुन्हा तो
the whole table is inqalaba, yanqalibu, inqalib, munqalibun,
बघे बघे
munqalab,
बघे
inqilabun.
तुझे दादा आहे तुझे बघा नाही बोलते
So mute your mics, we are getting disturbance. So to memorize these forms, what we have studied last time is tadabbar. So we can put that in a sentence. Do tadabbur and tadarrus to have better inqilab to Allah. Inqilab is turning to Allah. Not
दादा ने
inqilab is,
दादा ने घास
please mute your mics. It's causing disturbance. So tadarrasa is to do tadabbur. Tadabbara is to do tadabbur. Tadarrasa is to study. And inqalaba is to turn. So the sentence that we are making is do tadabbur and tadarrus to have better inqilab to Allah. Inqilab means turning towards Allah. So if you have to have a better turning towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you should have a tadarraba and tadarrasa. So we have seen two sentences before for remembering all the patterns that we have studied till now. Right? So memorize the table for tadarasa and yatadarasuna kitab Allah to translate hal tadarastum mal kitab. So this is all simple. I think you should be able to do it. So the other word that is given here is tashabuhu, right? Mutashabih comes from that. Mutashabihun, mutashahabun. This whole gardan you have to make with tashabaha. So that is the homework. Just to just write it and you can send it so that at least I know that some of you are writing. And for inqilab we have inqilaqa. So again for the word talaqa means to separate. Right? Talaq comes from talaqa, but inqalaqa means to proceed. The meaning sometimes completely changes. Inqalaba means to proceed, and talaqa means to separate or get away, be free. Talaqa, fantalaqu. Right? So intalaqa has a different meaning and talaqa has a different meaning, and this is how we have to understand the difference in the meanings of the words. We have 2 words of practice, and I think it shouldn't be difficult. Okay. This I am stopping my share. Any questions or doubts for today's grammar or today's ayat that we took or these that we took?
इन कसरा का मतलब टुकड़े टुकड़े होना ऐसा नहीं होगा वो कसरा का होता है ना
कस्सरा, हाँ नहीं कस्सरा मींस के टुकड़े टुकड़े होना और इन कसरा मींस अपने आप टूट जाना।
ऐसा इन है ना इंशिकाक चांद को टुकड़े कर दिया था फिर मिल गया
नहीं हाँ नहीं
इनके इंशिकाक है ना
इंशिकाक मतलब टूट गया अपने आप हुआ
फिर जुड़ गया ना
हाँ नहीं उसका सी द पॉइंट इज लाइक
अलग हो गया जैसा
नहीं हाँ अलग हो गया नहीं वो खुद से हुआ
टुकड़े टुकड़े नहीं हुआ
नहीं टुकड़े नहीं टुकड़े वो कसरा से होगा वो अल्लमा के वजन का जो ना वो टुकड़े टुकड़े होना ये कैसा है
यहाँ ये जो मस्जिद फी का ये है ना इनकलाबा इनकलाब वो सिंपल होगा शायद टुकड़े टुकड़े होना नहीं होगा सिंपल टर्न होना
वो जो शद्दा है वो इंटेंसिटी इंडिकेट करता है जो इन है ये अपने आप हुआ एकदम सिंपल एग्जांपल दूं तो मतलब टुकड़े टुकड़े हुआ इज नॉट द राइट थिंग टूट गया
हाँ सिंपल
टूट गया वो सेंस आता है जैसे कि कत्ता मतलब काटा
और कत्ता यानी टुकड़े
नहीं हाँ कत्ता मतलब टुकड़े टुकड़े कर दिया और इन कता मतलब कट गया
अलग किया
नहीं कट गया फोन की लाइन कट गई मतलब अपने आप कटी ना मतलब इसने काटा नहीं से वो तरह का सेंस आता है जैसे टुकड़े टुकड़े नहीं हुआ टूट गया एक है थोड़ा एक है टूट गया तो द इन जब आता है तो इट इंडिकेट्स कि वो अपने आप हुआ मतलब हु इज डूइंग इट इज नॉट वेरी क्लियर जैसे कता मतलब ही कट और इन कता मतलब इट गॉट कट तो टुकड़े टुकड़े नहीं है मतलब टूटा एक है तोड़ा और एक है टूटा
भैया टमाटर लगोगे
अलग हो गया
हाँ मतलब अपने आप हो गया मतलब वो उसमें जो काम कौन कर रहा है वो एकदम क्लियर नहीं है जैसे फोन की लाइन कटी तो उस तरह से इन जब आता है तो वो सेंस बनता है वो वर्ब का वो सेंस बनता है छोटे छोटे नहीं होना छोटे छोटे होगा तो वो कब तो आप पे आ जाएगा टुकड़े टुकड़े करना, मतलब कतआ मतलब कट, कतआ मतलब छोटे छोटे टुकड़े करना और बहुत सारे टुकड़े करना, एक काटते रहना, और इन कता मतलब कट जाना। इसमें जो वर्ड आज हमने देखा, मैं स्क्रीन शेयर करता हूँ और आई थिंक मैं लिख लेता हूँ तो शायद वो फायदा देगा आपको इन व्हाइट बोर्ड पे। जैसे जो वर्ड आज हमने देखा अमना और आमना, इसमें काफी ये रहता है, तो उससे रिलेटेड भी काफी वर्ड्स हैं जो काफी बार रिपीट होते हैं, और फिर अगर आपको थोड़ा सा क्लियर रहेगा तो वो बेटर रहेगा। तो आई जस्ट राइट दोज वर्ड्स, तो इंशाल्लाह दैट विल बी mostly helpful for you. So that, as we saw, the root is hamza, mim, and noon. Okay, and we'll have to put a, me, na. This is the salasi mujarrad form. इसका active participle क्या होगा? min. ये सॉरी ये हमजा है, तो हमजा should not join. तो हमजा followed by alif, fa'ala. Okay, so min is the active participle, and passive participle ma. It's difficult to write on the laptop. Ma, mana, mim, and then noon. Ma, mana. गैर मामून, विदाउट सिक्योरिटी। गैर मामून, अजाब जो अल्लाह का है वो गैर मामून, उसमें कोई सिक्योरिटी नहीं है, उसमें कोई पीस नहीं है। और देन वी सॉ द वर्ड अमानत, अमानतुन, amanatun. Then this is on the basic form. Then on the fourth form we have the word amana. With two hamzas it becomes one hamza with a mad. On the fourth form, na. Okay, this is the fourth form. Here we don't have a kasra, we have a fatha. Na. And with this we'll have the full gardan on aslama. Amana, amana, yu'minu, mu'minun, mu'manun, imanun. Okay, mu'min, iman. This all will be the fourth form things. There's just one more, eighth form on the if ta'ala wazan. In Surah Baqarah, in the second last, on the last page of Surah Al-Baqarah.
Amana
no, that is Amana. On the same page, the first ayat is having a word which is on the eighth form. I'll just get that out. That is, you start wondering why that word is that way, and it is sometimes difficult to understand the ऐसा क्यों हो रहा है उसमें. So it is the word alladhi tumina. So it is hamza, wow, as a shusha of the hamza. There's a allazi before it, and there's a sukun on this, and then there is a ta, and then mim and noon. Alladhi tumina, alladhi, alladhi will have a jhatka to me na. This is on bab ifta'ala, bab ifti'al, bab ifti'al, alladhi tumina. So this is also from the same root word of amana, and it also means to have security and peace. So amina ba'dikum ba'da falyu'addi alladhi tumina. So whoever is in security, that is how. So, but because of this, sometimes we start wondering ki ye kya hai. So this is a different form that is there, and this hamza also doesn't have any i'rab here, and this is just this hamza that is not. Before this is the word alladhi, alladhi, alladhi tumina. That is how it is pronounced. So the different flavors of aman, I would suggest everybody to just try and see those words, so that whenever they come in whatever form, it is easily identified and you are able to sort of pick it up, right? So these are the two different forms, and more than amina, amana is used. But amina also is used quite frequently. And the meaning here of amina is, we saw that, to feel secure, or at peace. And amana would mean to believe. Amana is to believe when it is followed by ba. And as we saw, whether it is when it is followed by today we saw it was laka, it would mean that to obey or follow your orders. Okay. So this much is clear. At least these few words, if you remember, amina and amin is the active participle. Ma'mun, the thing that is to be felt as security, and amana, trust. With that, we also have the word amin. Prophet ﷺ was amin, trustworthy. And amana, and it's different thing of belief. Amana, and then amana yu'minu, yu'minuna, tu'minu, tu'minuna, and the whole gardan will come in amin, will be order. Aslim, amin, aslimu, and then you have mu'min, mu'man, and iman, right? So this is the fourth form. So in fact, I would suggest that everybody practices this amana very well, because this is a very commonly used word, and when it comes in different forms, again, you should be able to identify it. Okay. Right. So any other questions or queries or comments on today's Quranic part or the grammar part? We did 2 verbs today, 2 forms today. So just see that you practice those 2 forms. They are not very difficult, but just small 3 differences that you have to remember. If you remember that, then yeah, it will be easy. Yeah. नहीं, समझा नहीं क्या?
लन तो मीना, ये लन की वजह से नसब आ गया क्या?
हाँ, लन टू मैना आया, वो लन की वजह से आया, लन की वजह से आया, that's right, लन की वजह से। और उधर भी तो मैना का जो पेश है वो 4th फॉर्म की वजह से है,
पहला
पेश जो है वो 4th फॉर्म की वजह से है।
वो तो ठीक है।
हाँ, तो ये छोटे-छोटे डिफरेंसेस हैं, अगर आपके माइंड में क्लियर रहेंगे, तो then whenever that word is coming, it is easy for you कि अरे ये 4th फॉर्म है या जो भी फॉर्म है, and if you are able to see the dictionary, then you'll understand the whole flavors of the different meanings. So that is the whole exercise. If you are understanding these basics, you can study yourself and try to find out the meanings. The thing is, for the grammatical part, corpus Quran करके online ये है, there you can actually see the forms and the different meanings and all the words used in the Quran on that particular form. So I would suggest that everybody can go on that site, Corpus Quran, take the dictionary, search for amana, and then see the trilateral form, the 4th form, and the different words used according to that. So वो एक बार देख लेंगे तो इंशाल्लाह, then whenever it comes, it will be very easy for you. You want me to show you that?
लका।
Do you want me to show you that? I'll just show you. Just a moment. I'll just hold on.
लका आपने बताया ना, लका तो क्या होता है? मतलब बी आया तो बिलीव होता है।
बी मतलब ईमान लाना उस पे, बट यहाँ पे उन लोग ऑलरेडी मूसा अलैहिस्सलाम और अल्लाह ताला पे ईमान लाए थे, मगर यहाँ पे था कि हम आपको फॉलो नहीं करेंगे, हम आपको ओबे नहीं करेंगे।
वो तो लन की वजह से ना।
हाँ, नहीं लन नहीं करना है, बट बिलीफ का उधर मतलब वो बिलीफ तो लोग ऑलरेडी कर चुके थे, मगर बिलीफ का एक बड़ा हिस्सा है कि आप इत्तबा भी करो, ये नहीं कि मैं ईमान लाया और फिर मैं कुछ भी नहीं करूंगा। आप समझ रहे हैं? वहां पे उसका सेंस जो बन रहा है, वो ईमान लाने के बाद इत्तिबा अगर नहीं हो तो ईमान नहीं कहाँ है आपका। मैं आपको ये दिखाता हूँ।
के लिए गए थे मूसा अलैहिस्सलाम, तो उसके पहले वो लोग ईमान लाए थे क्या?
इसके पहले
40 दिन के लिए मूसा तौरात लाने के गए थे।
हाँ, जब तब तक उन लोग साइंस देख चुके थे ना अल्लाह ताला की।
बिफोर दैट दे वर ऑल बिलीवर्स, और बाद में उन्होंने बछड़े को अपनाया, ऐसा मतलब है?
हाँ मतलब हाँ, उसके बाद मतलब उन्होंने सब
प्रीवियसली दे वर बिलीवर्स,
करामतें देखने के बावजूद दे वर
फर्स्ट
स्टिल,
दे बिलीव,
हाँ फर्स्ट दे बिलीव, बट एक करामत दिखने के बाद भी
ये नहीं था उनका, वीक था ईमान ना, इसका मतलब।
हाँ, वो ईमान नहीं था, वो असलम था खाली।
अच्छा,
हाँ, आई जस्ट
Yes,
शो यू,
yes.
ये जो अमना है, इसका जो रूट के हिसाब से जो आपको डिफरेंसेस मिलते हैं वो मैं शेयर करता हूँ एक मिनट इस पे। तो आप लोग देख सकेंगे, ये कॉर्पस कुरान में से शेयर करूंगा इंशाल्लाह मैं। ओके, हाँ, आप स्क्रीन देख रहे हैं मेरी?
आया आया।
ओके, तो ये जो है यहाँ पे यू आर गेटिंग ऑल द टाइप्स। देखो, अमना का रूट वर्ड दिखा रहा है अमीना, मतलब बाब समी आ, फोर्थ फॉर्म पे गया आमना, ठीक है, और एट फॉर्म पे आया तुमिन। ये जो मैं वर्ड बताया ना, जो सूरह बकरा में है, एक बार ये एक बार ही आया ये, ठीक है। देन यू हैव आमनत, अमानत, आमंत, और इसमें भी दिखाता हूँ, देखिए ये वर्ब का फर्स्ट फॉर्म सलासी मुजरद फॉर्म का मतलब है टू फील सिक्योर। अमीन तुम, इज अमीन तुम, जब आप सिक्योर थे उस चीज से, अमीन तुम, देखिए अमीन तुम बेसिक ट्राइलेटरल फॉर्म में आया है, राइट। सो इतने सारे बार ये वर्ड ट्राइलेटरल फॉर्म में आया है टू फील सिक्योर के मीनिंग से, देख रहे हैं आप। जब फोर्थ फॉर्म पे आ जाता है तो उसका मतलब हो जाता है टू बिलीव, आमना युमिनु, ओके। और आगे बढ़ेंगे, ये सब युमिनु के इतने सारे एग्जांपल्स हैं। और आगे हम बढ़े तो ये सब युमिनु के एग्जांपल, इतने बार कुरान में वर्ड आया तो इससे कितना इंपॉर्टेंट वर्ड है सोचिए। तो इसको मैं समझता हूँ कि आप लिख लीजिए फोर्थ फॉर्म को, तो ये जब भी आए आपको कोई डिफिकल्टी नहीं रहनी चाहिए कि क्या है, इतने सारे बार आए, चल ही रहा है, खत्म नहीं हुआ है, ओके। इसके बाद ये जो मैंने बताया टू बी इंटरेस्टेड, ठीक है, जो मैंने 8 फॉर्म बताया, वह इन अमीना बादुकुम बादा, जब आप सिक्योर जगह पे आ जाओ, फल युअद्दिल लजी, तो पूरा करे, फुलफिल करे, अल्लजी अल्लजी तुमिना, जिसको ट्रस्ट किया गया था, अमानतहु। तो देखिए सेम वर्ड कितने कितने अमीना भी आया है यहाँ पे। देन यू हैव दिस 8th फॉर्म आल्सो, लजी तुमिना भी आया है, अमानतुन। द सेम रूट वर्ड इज यूज्ड इन द सेम सेंटेंस 3 times with different forms, ठीक है। This is ayat number 283 of Surah Baqarah. Then amanat as a trust, as a noun, it is used in 5 times. As noun, amanatuhu, again so many times. वो अमना, ये जो है अमना भी नाउन है, वो अमन के सिक्योरिटी के रूप में आया है। अमानतन, अगेन सिक्योरिटी। एडजेक्टिव ट्रस्टवर्दी, अमीन, अमीन, it has come so many times. Then ma 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 manatun, mana, place of safety. Active participle, aminan, adjective, aminan, adjective form में भी it is used. Then active participle, aminin, amin का जो है वो यानून बानून, if you put it then it is plural. amin, amin, aminin, aminun. Passive participle, ma'mun, in azab rabbihim ghayru ma'mun. The azab of Allah is not something to be felt secure of, ठीक है। अल्लाह का अजाब ऐसा है कि जिससे आप पीसफुल नहीं रह सकते, आप सिक्योर फील नहीं कर सकते। एंड अगेन वर्बल नाउन जो है, जैसे ईमान, ईमान इज दी वर्बल नाउन। तो वर्बल नाउन में देखिए कितने बार आया है, इट्स कम सो मेनी टाइम्स एज अ वर्बल नाउन। वंस यू अंडरस्टैंड दिस डिफरेंट यूजेजेस, इट बिकम्स नाउ एक्टिव पार्टिसिपल मुमिन, ठीक है। इतने बार मुमिन फॉर्म में आया है। एंड देन यू हैव एडजेक्टिव मुमिनुन, and again active participle, fourth form, You have mu'minat, feminine form में, mu'minat. मु'मिनुन को आत लगा दिए तो feminine हो गया. Active participle of fourth form, mu'minatun. So this is the kind of scope. थोड़ा सा, if you understand the grammar, then it becomes easier for you to understand these different forms.
और आमीन बोलते हो?
हाँ, आमीन अलग है. आमीन मतलब वो दुआ है ना. आमीन उसका रूट तो यही है.
मतलब वो भी वही है ना?
हाँ, रूट तो सेम ही है. रूट सेम ही है. हमजा
आमीन.
आमीन. आमीन जो है वो रूट वही है उसका. रूट वही है. तो इसलिए I would want you to try to search.
कि या अल्लाह हमारी दुआ कबूल फरमा.
हाँ, बराबर. उसका मीनिंग वो होता है. मतलब वो दुआ को लॉक कर दो, सिक्योर कर दो उसको. तो दुआ किए उसको आमीन कर दो, मतलब सिक्योर कर दो उसको, अल्लाह के ट्रस्ट में डाल दो.
करेक्ट.
ठीक है. एनी अदर क्वेश्चंस? और कुछ क्वेश्चंस हैं?
Can you elaborate on manna wa salwa?
Manna wa salwa जो है, normally you would whenever we have to eat something, we have to actually do work on that. We have to do agriculture, then you will be able to grow some grains. And if you have to have poultry and all that, you have to work it to grow chickens and eggs and whatever. You have to do some efforts for it. The punishment given to the Israelites was that they were in the wilderness. They were wandering in the desert. In the desert, with their wandering, they couldn't have had a means of agriculture, and they did not have water in the desert. So all this was not possible. But because of their situation, Allah Ta'ala blessed them with man and salwa, which is one kind of a wheat, kind of a grain which was there, and Allah Ta'ala grew that for them. So Allah Ta'ala is telling that we send it from the sky. We send it down. Whatever we eat today is from the blessing, because it comes from the water that Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala has sent down from the sky. So even without their extra efforts, they were able to grow this and eat it. And the two most important constituents of our diet are carbohydrates and proteins. So with the man, they were given the carbohydrates, and with the salwa, which was the quails, they were given the proteins, and they were very easy to catch. So they did not have to do very hunting and all that for that. So after having got the blessings of Allah Subhanahu wa Taala, they were still not happy with that. As we'll see in the later part of the 8th page down part, we have ayat coming which says that they're saying we are bored with one kind of food. So there are two foods, but when every day you're eating dal roti and chapati, and you will feel that I'm eating same food every day, right? So they had that kind of a feeling. And then Allah Ta'ala says that, okay, if you want to all those other foods, we could give you that, but then you have to go to any Misr, any city, and then you have to work for it, and then you would get it that way. And that is when you're working for somebody, something, or to achieve something, that is zillah. When Allah Ta'ala was giving you everything from the heavens very easily, without your efforts, without your real hard work, that is a blessing from Allah. That's why Allah is saying that we give you this blessing, and then the next when we come to that, inshallah, we'll take that in spite of that, you took something at a lower level, which means that you wanted to struggle yourself for this worldly things, and Allah Ta'ala created you for a better purpose. Anything more you want clarity on?
It's in Hazrat Isha relevant. There was a Anjala Akhwan min as-sama. हजरत ईसा को भी आसमान से कुछ उन्होंने डिमांड किया था कि भाई वो नाजिल करो. Is there?
That was Isa alayhi salam. Isa alayhi salam was asked anzala minas samai ma'an, anzala minas samai maida. So they had the people of Musa, Isa alayhi salam, not Musa alayhi salam, Isa alayhi salam. That is in the end part of Surah Al-Maida, where they said that they also wanted to see some miracle, and they asked Isa alayhi salam to to send from the sky a food spread. Maida is a food spread. So Isa alayhi salam was like, don't you believe? But then Allah Ta'ala did send that Maida, and we know about it, that Allah Ta'ala sent directly the food from the sky for them. So those are some miracles of Allah, and whatever we have got is a blessing from Allah, and we have to realize that that's a blessing from Allah, and appreciate it and acknowledge it And as I said in today's ayat, shukr, that Allah Ta'ala is saying, so that you will make shukr. What does that shukr mean? Is to follow the or obey the commands. That is the shukr that we will be able to, that is the real shukr. If you are obeying the commands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Anything more you wanted for Manna Salwa? Because I was not very clear with the question.
So I thought all the thing that was to be from the heaven only. But here they have to visit the salwa. They have to catch that salwa or.
Yes, they had to, but the food was available to them. No, you just imagine yourself in the middle of nowhere in the desert, where if you have nothing, you would die. Right? Again, the other important thing in this ayat is that Allah Ta'ala doesn't mention about water here. Water is also going to come. They're going to ask for water. Here Allah Ta'ala just said, I'm giving you to eat, you eat. Here, they still didn't have water. But water is going to come next in the ayat that are going to follow. So here Allah Ta'ala just gave them food. In spite of, because they didn't have a house where they were staying and they were doing agriculture. They were just moving about in the wilderness. They were moving about in the deserts. The whole group was just moving. And it was not just few people, it was a lot of people. So it was like a huge exodus of people. So for such a huge number of people, the food that was required, Allah Ta'ala made arrangements for that. And that is what Allah Ta'ala is reminding them, that when you had no shelter over you, He sheltered you with the clouds. And then you were still in the wilderness. You couldn't have done agriculture. You couldn't have had poultry and all that. But Allah Ta'ala gave you these quails which were easily available so that you could just catch them and sort of eat them. So they were not getting food directly from sky and they were eating it, but they were getting it easily. So Allah Ta'ala is reminding them that this was a favor that we did on you. That in the middle of nowhere, just imagine somebody is maybe in a ship in the middle of the sea and they have nothing. And they get some kind of food to eat. So that is a blessing that Allah Ta'ala is giving. So maybe they get some fish there. They would feel that, okay, fish is a part of water and you're getting it. But it is a blessing, right? Because if you have no other means and then Allah Ta'ala is providing out of a special thing, that's why Allah Ta'ala is telling them or reminding them that, look what we had done at that time when you were in that kind of situation. So just imagine that situation where you are in the middle of a desert with no water anywhere, no form of agriculture. You are just moving about every day. You're walking or traveling. You require that energy for walking also. And where is all that going to come from? You require some kind of input, some kind of food to take all this. And Allah Ta'ala reminds them how we provided you food. And then He's saying that eat from that what we have provided, the good things that we have provided for you.
Jazakallah. Thank you.
So for this, I think whatever we also get nowadays, we just take it for granted. We just go to the supermarket, get things and things that, okay, that I'm working so much and I'm earning so much, that's why I'm getting to eat. No, that is not a thing. But the dua that we say after our meals is what? That Allah Ta'ala, you gave this to me and I had no power to acquire this. Without your providing, I couldn't have eaten it. Right? This is the dua, the meaning of the dua that we say every day after eating. So that is a kind of a thanks that we are giving, that we take so many things for granted. See, one small thing that we take, smallest you can consider a simple cup of tea that you're drinking in the morning. How granted do we take it? Just imagine a farmer has to grow those trees for the leaves, then those leaves are processed and dried and packed, so many things, and so many people are working for that one cup of tea that you're drinking in the morning. The milk that is going to come from it, some farmer has to have some animal who would be able to give milk. He has to do all that background work, then get that milk out. That milk will be processed and then it reaches you. The water, just imagine that single water that came from the sky and it rained and somewhere it was stored, and then it came to your taps and then you are able to drink it. So just one smallest thing that we eat, we just take it for granted, is just tea. A simple meal that we take. There are so many people involved in getting things done for you when you are taking that single one morsel of food in your mouth. So how can you thank that each and every person? So at least thank Allah that He made all this possible so that you are able to eat the things that we are able to eat. So we have to realize the bounties on us also. We are seeing Allah Ta'ala is giving us examples here to ponder on how miraculously Allah Ta'ala has created a system where we are able to eat every day 3 meals, and just one component of the meal that you analyze, there are so many background things that have to be done for you to eat. Simple dal that you're going to eat should have that dal which is grown somewhere, should have those masalas which are grown somewhere, salt has come from the sea or whatever, the rye, the oil, so many things. Just make a list of things that a simple dal that we are going to eat has, and just imagine the number of people that would have been working for that single morsel of dal to go in your mouth. How can you thank enough? So we have to thank Allah, and that is the dua. If we make that dua at the end of our meals, inshallah, we have at least done some bit of thanking Allah for that small meal that we have eaten. We are used to eating bigger meals. I'm just giving a small example so that we understand how thankful we should be to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right? Any other questions? Everybody is reciting the dua after food or no? The dua after food, we say Alhamdulillah, we say Alhamdulillahi lazi at'amni. Alhamdulillah lazi, all praises and thanks to Allah. Alladhi at'amni, who fed me, hadha, this food, wa razaqnihi, and he provided for me, min ghayri hawlim minni wala quwwah, without any power, without any thing. And all the power is Allah. I did not have power to do it, but Allah Ta'ala had the power. Right? So this is the dua that we say after food. So you can imagine how Allah Ta'ala gave the manna and salwa, and how He is also providing us with the daily food that we are eating. Take just one item of your breakfast or your lunch or your dinner, just one item, and just think about it. What are the things that go behind that thing reaching your plate? Right? And then you would realize the importance of this dua. Alhamdulillahi lazi at'amni hadha min ghayri hawli minni wala quwwah. You would say, I'm earning enough and that's why I'm eating. That is not so simple. You might earn but still may not get to eat. You can see examples in the world of people who might have money and they are not able to even buy things to eat. Right? So I did not say more than that. We should be thankful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for each and everything that we are getting on this earth.
और एक हदीस शरीफ आपने भेजी है ना, वो डिस्कस करेंगे बोले
डिस्कस तो आज वो उसका पार्ट था इसमें, जो हदीस मैंने भेजी है वो पूरी की पूरी हदीस भेजी है, और उसमें यही था कि अगर पूरे के सारे इंसान, all the people on the earth, they become completely pious and so much pious that the best pious person of the heart of the best pious person is same as the heart of all the people all around the world, not only people, all the jinn all around the world, but that does not increase or reduce the power of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Same way, if all the world, all the people on the world are become sinful or become say for that example murtad, or they don't believe in Allah and they don't worship Allah, they become the worst of the people on the earth, and all of them become like one heart. They are all bad people. And same with the jinns, and all the jinns in the earth become same. It is not going to reduce or increase the power of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by any bit. That indicates on how powerful Allah Ta'ala is and how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is running the mechanism of the whole earth. It is mind-boggling the number of people that we have on the earth today, and each has enough to feed himself. Isn't it a miracle by itself? We might say a lot of things that this green revolution happened or that happened, but we don't thank Allah enough that Allah has made those things possible for somebody to do that work, so that at least we are able to get it. If the farmer is not doing any cultivation, how are we going to eat?
Described in Asmaul Husna.
Yeah, so the Asmaul Husna has a complete this thing, but simple. See, when we say the duas, if we just ponder over those duas, it will become amply clear that what Allah is providing for us. What we feel is that, okay, I had money, that's why I ate. Right? It is not so simple. But if it is not so simple, we have to at least from our heart thank, not just ye khane ke baad dua padhne ki to padh liye. Unless we are knowing what we are saying, how are we thanking enough? We'll see.
In
we have to acknowledge. Yes, we have to acknowledge. That is what it is. It is acknowledgement is in the heart. The noor is in the heart.
Heart and mind and tongue.
Yeah. Qalb is heart.
Also with Lisan, no?
Lisan, yeah, lisan will be the manifestation. But first, you might say with lisan, but the heart is not there. Then it is, what is the point? No.
Correct.
It is like
Heart
like
and
saying,
mind is important.
yeah, heart is most important. So dil jo hai, wo sabse pehla to cheez dil hai na. You might say somebody I love you, but that is just a lip service. Heart is involved, it will show. If your heart is involved in loving somebody, then it will show. Otherwise, the lip services is okay, good. Everybody will say I love you, I love you, I love you. But if the heart is not there in the love of Allah, then that is missing. No, you might say it from the tongue, but the tongue doesn't mean always that the heart is in sync with the tongue. Tongue is known for its sins that it does and the lies that it says. Right? So our hearts have to be clean, and that's what Allah Ta'ala didn't say you come with a clean tongue. Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala said, Qalbun Salim, you come with a clean heart. We have to cleanse our hearts from all the hasad, from all the bad things, from all the evil thoughts, all bad thoughts about people. Have a good dhan, have good thinking of people, cleanse our hearts of all the bad things. May Allah make it easy for us. And the most important thing that we have to cleanse our hearts is from nifaq.
Ameen.
Right? Any other questions or doubts? Today we have done 2 verbs, so see to it that you practice those 2, and inshallah they will become easy. Also, as we did a little exercise today on trying to pick up on what format of that verb is there, so that it becomes easy for you to understand as you go ahead. Otherwise, the verbs will get over and you are still struggling with basic forms. Right? We have already reaching 11:20. So any other doubts? Otherwise, we can conclude. Okay. Okay then. Subhanallahi wa bihamdihi, subhanakallahumma bihamdika, ashhadu an la